Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our third topic lesson of the term. Okay, we are looking at ancient Greece. Okay, in the previous lesson, we looked at Sparta and Athens, and we compared Athenians and Spartans, and you all came up with an argument on what you would rather prefer to be, a Spartan or an Athenian. And it was great to read through your arguments on Dojo. Some of you sent in some great videos. Okay, it was excellent. Okay, thank you very much. So moving forward, just to recap, sorry, just before we do go forward, remember that our global theme is rights and responsibilities, and all of these lessons are going to guide us towards answering the big question: how do we make our voices heard? Okay, and today we are specifically looking at democracy. Okay, so if we look at the bottom where it says, what was the Athenian democracy legacy and how did they make their voices heard, and how did the Athenian democracy work? That is what we are looking at today. Okay, so your steps of success and your signs of success today are that you can use subject-specific vocabulary, so those key words. You can explain how the Athenian democracy worked. We asked you at the end. And you can give your opinion, that's the most important part, about how the Athenian democracy worked. So how did the Athenian democracy work? Okay, first we need to establish who is able to take part in the Athenian democracy. Women and slaves were not allowed to do so, so they will not take part in voting during this lesson. So already, how does that feel? If you're, for example, make it relative to us, if you were a girl, a female, okay, and suddenly you weren't allowed to take part in this activity, okay, if we were in the classroom or you were at home, how does that make you feel? Okay, does that make you feel equal? Does it make you feel angry? Maybe write down in your notes in your book, how does that make you feel being a woman? How does it make you feel being a man, being a boy, that you could vote, but then your peers aren't able to vote? Okay, how does it feel that there were people that were classified as slaves, okay, working for no money? Okay, so how does that make you feel? So we need to create the ruling council called the Buell. Okay, this is a group of 500 citizens chosen to serve for a year using a lottery. So it's completely random. Okay, so if we were in class, I would just choose completely randomly to create a council. Okay, but because we are doing the home learning, I want everyone to be involved. So you're all going to be a part of my council. Okay, today you're all going to have a vote. So the members of the Bureau have decided on 3 new laws for improving Athens. Okay. Now we are going to, because these new laws, okay, have been decided, I want all of us, okay, as members, to now discuss these laws, okay, and decide if we approve of them or if we want to get rid of them. Okay, now in ancient Greece, we would all stand in the Sphinx, okay, and this is the place on top of the hill, and if we agreed with the law, we would put a white pebble in the ballot box for yes and a black pebble in the ballot box if it was a no. And this is quite similar to how we vote today. Today we put a cross on who next to whoever we want to vote, and then we put it into box. We put our vote into a ballot box, to keep our vote discreet. Okay, but what they used back in ancient Greece was a white pebble and a black pebble. So, rule number 1. Okay, law number 1 that we want to impose. We are desperate to beat Sparta at the next Olympics. Everyone has to do 5 hours of compulsory sports practice a week. Okay, you can pause the video. But as bowlers, as citizens, okay, a mixture, do you think this is a law that should be approved? Do you think this is fair? Do you think there are benefits? Do you think there are pros? Do you think there are cons to this law? Okay. On your book, I would like you to write the first new law that we've tried to introduce, and then answer that question. Do you agree? Do you disagree? But more importantly, why? Because then you're building up, like we did in the previous lesson with that, using our debating skills, you'll be able to verbalize why, okay, and have your evidence to answer why. Next, people need to spend more time worshipping our goddess Athena. So everyone has to go to the temple and pray 4 times a day. Same again. If you're a citizen, if you're a woman, think about if you're a girl, a man, a boy, how would you feel, okay, knowing already what you know about their equality? Do you think this is fair? Okay. Do you think that we should be worshipping more than one god, because we know there were numerous gods that they worshipped? Do you think that's fair? Again, write the sentence down, and if you agree or disagree. Number 3. To celebrate our recent history in war against the Spartans, we'll have a 4-day feast with free drinks and food for everybody. Finally, do you agree with this? Do you disagree? Again, yes, the 4-day feast with free drinks and food sounds amazing, okay, but think a bit deeper. Is it feasible? Is that going to be quite expensive? Should we be celebrating for every war that we've won, or is it just the war? Is it just about beating the Spartans? Okay, have a think. Would this work? Okay. Now, again, this was very similar to how we vote today, and this is why democracy stems from the ancient Greeks. Okay. And another thing that Greek citizens were allowed to do was get rid of their own leaders, especially if they're a tyrant. Now, a tyrant, have a pause. You can pause the video if you want. What do you think a tyrant is? Okay, so a tyrant is someone that takes power but using force. Okay, so it's not through democracy. Okay, they've taken over most of the time using violence. Okay, and force. No one's asked them to take over. If the citizens thought their leader was unfair or nasty or getting too big for their boots, the people would have them sent away from Athens for 10 years. This was called ostracizing. So ostracizing is when you're put into exile, okay, and banished from your land. So how did the Athenian democracy work? We're just going to have a key vocabulary matching game just to see what we know already. Again, with an activity like this, when we come to the end of our topic in a few weeks, you'll be able to answer these questions a lot easier. So, democracy, citizens, veto, the bull, the Alesia, and the thinks. Okay, what answers do they match up to? So we're just going to pause the video. If you would like to write the key vocab on the left and then write its definition on the right. Okay, pause the video, and then when we come back, we will reveal the answers. Whilst you are trying to have that educated guess, think about, I like to call it the process of elimination. What one do you definitely know? Pick that one first, okay? And as they get harder, you'll only have a few options left. So let's have a first look at, I went through my process of elimination. I started with citizens. Had a look. In ancient Greece, they were the native-born men. So that was my process of elimination. Next, I knew democracy because we've been learning about that in the previous slides. The word comes from 2 Greek words that mean rule by the people, because we said about how democracy is where everyone gets to vote. Okay, although in ancient Greek times it wasn't everyone. What they thought is democracy, we wouldn't see as democracy today, because women and slaves were not allowed to vote. The bull we spoke about, the people that made the laws, the ruling council. The Sphinx, can anybody remember? Yes, that was where, okay, the assemblies were held, okay, on the hill where people gathered. We've got, yes, that's the assembly of citizens, and then veto. So you might sometimes hear friends or family say, I veto that idea. That comes from ancient Greek, where you refuse or allow a decision, a proposal. Okay, so it's the power to refuse. Okay, let's have a look at these. Ostracized. Can you remember what people would do if you were ostracized? What did that mean? Monarchy, oligarchy, and the tyranny. Okay, pause, have a go and match. Okay, so first of all, the oligarchy. We said ruled by only a few people, mainly aristocrats. So they are the upper class. Okay. Tyranny. Can anyone remember tyranny? If you were a tyrant, what did you do? How did you take over that power? Can you remember? Yes, if you're a tyranny, it's seized by power by force, okay, by using violence. A monarch is the rule of an individual through inheritance, okay, always gets passed down through the bloodline. And to ostracize was to temporary banishment from a city by popular vote. So we're just going to view a short clip about how how democracy worked in ancient Greece. Again, if it doesn't work for you, if you can't hear it through Zoom, I've put the link at the bottom here. So you've simply got to type that into your search bar. Okay, so yeah, the main point behind that is that yeah, the Athenian democracy was very similar in regards to today, in regards to giving people a voice. However, you could see that it only gave specific people a voice. Okay, so it actually excluded a lot of people. So democracy today actually works a lot better because everyone gets a voice, not dependent on, and it doesn't depend on your race, if you're male or female, your age. Okay, well, speaking of age, we do have, for example, in our country, we have a minimum age to vote. Okay. However, it's very, very inclusive, that our democracy today. Okay. So let's move on. So to add to the notes that you have created today, okay, I would like you to answer this question. Okay. As brave change makers, what do you think about Athenian democracy? Okay, but please justify this with any evidence from our lesson today. So if you need to rewind, play the video again, the YouTube video again, it's absolutely fine. But what did you think? If someone asks you, what do you think about the Athenian democracy, even compared to today's democracy or democracy in the United Kingdom today, what do you think about it? But remember, like we always do with our topic lessons, justify with a reason, use evidence. Okay. Thank you very much, guys. I hope you guys are still well at home and staying safe, and cannot wait to check in with you guys on Zoom. Okay, please message us if you've got any questions via Dojo, okay, or when we catch up on our catch-up Zooms. Thank you very much. Speak soon.